The storm had come without warning, sweeping across Chicago with sheets of rain and thunder that shook the windows of Emily Carter's new home on Maple Street. She stood near the glass, staring into the blur of street lights and wet pavement, hugging her arms tightly around her chest. She had moved into this house only 3 weeks ago, eager for a fresh start after the chaos of the last year. The breakup with Daniel, her longtime partner, had left her feeling hollow. Her marketing job at the firm had drained her spirit. She had told herself a new city, a new place, and a quiet neighborhood would help her rebuild. Maple Street had seemed perfect, quiet, lined with trees, and far from the noise of downtown. The rent was surprisingly affordable, which she had chalked up to luck. But luck never felt this heavy. At first, it was just the storm, she thought, the flicker of lights, the groaning of wooden beams in an old house. But then came the sound. The whisper. Her heart raced as she froze, straining her ears. It was faint, carried on the crackle of thunder. Yet she was certain she heard it. Emily! She spun around. The living room was empty. Shadows stretched long across the walls, the lamps glowing weakly as though drained by the storm. Her throat tightened. Hello, she called, her voice shaky. Silence. Her phone buzzed suddenly in her hand, nearly making her drop it. A new message glowed on the screen from an unknown number. I warned you not to move into that house. Emily's breath caught. She typed quickly, fingers trembling. Who is this? No reply. Thunder rolled again, and the old wood above her groaned. The sound seemed to come from the attic. She grabbed the flashlight from the kitchen drawer and forced herself up the narrow staircase. Each step creaked under her weight, echoing in the stillness. The attic door was closed, the brass handle icy cold beneath her palm. She hesitated, breath shallow, before pushing it open. The smell of dust and old timber filled her nose. Her flashlight beam cut across cobwebs, slanted beams, and empty floorboards. At first glance, the attic looked deserted. Then she saw it. In the far corner stood a single wooden chair. She was certain it hadn't been there when she had inspected the house. Her light shook as she approached. Scratched into the wood were initials, JW. She reached out to trace the carving. Suddenly, the whisper returned, so close it seemed to brush her ear. Leave. Emily dropped the flashlight. It clattered loudly against the floor, sending wild circles of light spinning across the room. She scrambled to pick it up, heart pounding, before fleeing down the stairs and slamming the attic door shut. That night, she didn't sleep. She sat on the couch with every light on, gripping her phone and waiting for another message. None came. Every creak of the house sent her nerves on edge. By morning, exhaustion dragged her down, but her curiosity burned stronger than her fear. She had to know. At the library, she searched through newspaper archives. Hours slipped by until one article made her blood run cold. Mysterious disappearance. Local teenager James Whitman vanishes from Maple Street home. Her pulse hammered. James Whitman. JW. The initials carved on the chair. The article was 20 years old. James had been 17 when he disappeared without a trace. His parents reported strange noises in the house before he vanished, whispers in the night. The case had never been solved. Emily leaned back in the stiff wooden chair, staring at the screen. Something had happened in her house, and she was caught in the middle of it. When she returned home that evening, the storm had passed, but the air felt heavier than ever. She unlocked the attic again, dread and determination battling in her chest. The chair was still there. But this time, a folded piece of paper lay on the seat. Her breath shook as she opened it. The writing was hurried, frantic. He's not gone. He's still here. Don't trust the silence. Her chest tightened. She whispered aloud, James? The air chilled instantly. The whisper came again, softer but unmistakable. Help me. Emily stumbled back, clutching the note. Fear tangled with something else, compassion. If James's voice was reaching her from the past, could she help him? Or was she being lured into something darker? Her phone buzzed again. Another unknown message. If you want to survive, leave tonight. Emily stared at the glowing words, pulse racing. Was the voice warning her? Or tricking her? Who was sending these texts? And why did she feel, deep inside, that if she left now, she might never uncover the truth? That night, she forced herself to stay. The silence of the house pressed against her ears until she swore she could hear her own heartbeat echoing in the walls. She tried to distract herself with a book, but around midnight, a sound jolted her upright, the slow scrape of wood against floorboards. The chair. Moving. Her chest heaved. She grabbed the flashlight and crept up the stairs, each step like a drumbeat in her skull. She pushed open the attic door. The chair was no longer in the corner. It sat in the middle of the attic now, facing her. On the seat lay another note. Find the truth beneath the floor. Her hands shook as she scanned the wooden boards. One section near the wall looked newer, lighter than the rest. She knelt and pressed her fingers along the seam. With effort, she pried up the board. Beneath it lay a box. She pulled it out, coughing as dust rose around her. Inside were old photographs, James Whitman smiling with friends, sitting on the porch of the house. Letters, too, written in his hand. But beneath the letters was something darker. A police report with notes scrawled in the margins. The report described the night James vanished. Neighbors had reported a stranger lurking near the house days before, a man no one could identify. The last entry in the margin, written shakily, chilled her. He's watching me. If I disappear, it's because of him. Emily's stomach dropped. Whoever had been in James's life had never been caught. Could it be the same person texting her now? Her phone buzzed again. You're getting too close. Emily's knees weakened. Someone was watching her, just as James had been watched. She rushed down the stairs, double-locked the doors, and closed every curtain. She tried to call the police, but when she explained, the officer's tone was flat. Ma'am, if you're receiving threatening messages, come down to the station and file a report. We can't act on whispers and old stories. She hung up, despair crashing over her. She was on her own. For days, the messages continued. Sometimes warnings. Leave while you can. Sometimes threats. You'll end up like him. The whispers at night grew louder, more desperate. Emily began to see shadows move when no one was there. Sleep slipped away from her. But she refused to leave. James had vanished, and if no one else cared to uncover the truth, she would. One evening, while searching the box again, she noticed a folded map beneath the photographs. It was of the house. A small X was marked in the basement. Her heart pounded as she descended the narrow basement stairs, the air damp and cold. The beam of her flashlight landed on the far wall where the X was drawn. She ran her hands along the bricks and felt one shift slightly. She pressed harder, and a section of the wall gave way. Behind it was a hidden space. Her stomach churned as she crawled inside. The small chamber smelled of mildew and earth.